It is really serene and pretty when you go out over the sand, though.
It really
Yeah.
is.
You can kind of see why those rock gardens, sand gardens are popular. Something peaceful about it.
Oh no, that was a shrimp. Oh, and a fish.
Shrimp doing the backstroke.
Little Olympic swimmer it is.
Showing off, it just flipped upside down, doing a loop-de-loop.
I'll take a partial zoom.
It's just stunting on that fish.
Okay, I'll take a little bit more.
Did you say stunting on the fish?
Yep.
He did. I don't know where you're from, Kevin, but it sounds like where I'm from. Okay. Let's see if the shrimp wants a zoom.
Oh, there's actually some interesting images in still cam from that.
I like these ones, fuzzy feet.
Yeah.
It's basically a Clydesdale.
I'll take a little more zoom.
Wow.
It's like these things are never over after one foul.
Why are you laughing?
Come on.
Chanel's got a secret stash or something, and she's holding out on me.
So no, you really like those shrimps. Oh.
It's the fuzzy feet.
What is
Very
that?
animated, yeah.
Is that
Oh,
just a rock?
oopsie.
It's sort of like puppy spiky thing right below the lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we
What
get a
is
zoom on
that?
that?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and
I
zoom.
think this is going to be another ceranthid.
Oh, yes.
So that's a
Oh.
little anemone.
Wow, that's a cool.
I don't know if
More.
I've seen one like that. What's the white? Is that just body?
That's just part of the body, yeah.
Looks
Cool.
like a animal from the Muppets.
Well, it kind of does look like an animal from the Muppets.
You really got to use your imagination. Okay, come on. Oh.
Is that a different species of anemone that we're seeing, or?
Yeah.
Definitely not one we've seen this dive. At least I haven't.
There it is. It's the very first thing in the anemones other in the guide.
Oh,
It's an actinernus nobilus.
cool.
Interesting. Sounds like royalty.
Yeah, looks like royalty.
Definitely got a crown. Speaking of crowns, I think pineapples grow in the strangest way. Have you guys seen a pineapple bush before?
Oh,
yeah, you
they're,
don't expect them to be just straight up.
they're a little bromeliad, and the fruit just sits right on the top.
I swear, I saw it when we were in Hawaii. I saw a pineapple plant, and wouldn't have guessed that was how the pineapple grew.
They're also the cutest things ever when they're like little, because they look like little tiny miniature pineapples, and then they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. I have a friend in Florida who grows one.
Oh. How long do you know how long it takes to grow a pineapple?
I think they get theirs in like 6 weeks or so.
Oh, wow.
It's not too long.
Yeah, that's a lot shorter than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, another fishy.
You can go ahead and push in.
Doesn't each tree grow only like one pineapple or something?
Yeah, it's like one. It's a bromeliad, and each one produces like one fruit at a time.
What's a bromeliad?
It is an like epiphytic plant, basically.
What's
They've
an epiphytic plant?
That didn't necessarily make it
of
better.
course. It's a plant that grows on other plants.
Okay.
Okay. Imagine you're in an outreach event with kindergartners. Oh, I have one of of those in my atrium.
Yeah, so they're these plants that basically grow in a column of leaves that then produces a central flower off a stalk. They can often be epiphytes, which are plants that grow on other plants.
Aren't banana trees like that too?
They can be, but they are not a bromeliad. They're their own weird, wonderful plant.
Oh, starfish. Echinoderm.
You kind of done zoom.
Pew. Okay, sorry. Zoom, please. Lights.
Is sun tanning?
He is now. It's a silly hour, I think.
I think it comes in waves. Then we're going to get to the very, very quiet, everyone's asleep hour on the Blue Watch.
Yeah. Come on.
It's right next to a polyapica.
I'm gonna tilt up and wait. Can you come wide for me? And I'll frame up and then we'll push past.
Okay.
Maybe just do that. And push past that. I'll just cope.
Do you know if that was a new species of sea star that we've seen?
That was not a new species of sea star. That one is a well-known gonosteriid star. It's one we see quite regularly feasting on coral.
Carly, mind if I take your bubble for a moment?
Oh yeah, go for it.
I wonder if there's different species of pineapples, because like I have a friend in on Oahu that is growing pineapples, and they said like it takes a couple years. So maybe like Florida has the
Or is it once
hyperdrive.
I might also have the timeline of how long it takes to produce a pineapple completely wrong.
Maybe there are also differences between like establishing the plant itself and then producing a fruit. Try to mediate here.
That's also, yeah. Apparently it does take 32 to 46 months to completion and
Whoa.
harvest.
My goodness. That is a commitment.
But I want one now. It's that little, it looked like a crinoid on the bottom of the screen for a second.
Ugh. I'm just how do you hold the that one? Like, do you hold it like this and like sort of twist?
Yeah, I hold it like that. Oh.
No, you don't.
Not like a,
That's not natural.
that's like a wine glass.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to
You want to go on the other side? That's not okay.
Apparently
I
you
hold
can
it like this.
grow a pineapple
hold it
by
like
cutting
that.
off the top of a pineapple and planting it.
Oh wow.
Those are my favorite kinds of plants. The ones where you can really kind of mess up a lot. And
You can do that with a surprising number of plants. We have a little basil industry going at home right now from buying a grocery store basil plant, cutting off its little leaves and rooting them. And then we now have like 30 basil plants.
I love basil. That is the best smell on earth.
you might be able to convince Meredith to give you a basil plant. ship it to you. Keep it in your porthole.
No, that's a very good idea. We used to grow mint.
Me and George have shared custody of a succulent up in the bridge. I sort of abandoned being its parent a little bit, but I am the one that procured it. It's cute because it's in a little like dog-shaped pot, like a little pug or Boston Terrier looking pot. It's so cute.
What's its name?
I don't know. I don't think we ever got that far.
Can you zoom on that coral, please?
Yes, of course. Let me just get a little
Victorgorgia?
closer.
I'm guessing that's a victorgorgia.
Victorgorgias.
It's a purple.
I was thinking about getting a victorgorgia tattoo. It's one of my favorite corals.
Really?
Yeah.
Be nice one.
With a brittle star.
Okay, videos zoom.
You want me to put on the board tray there, Kylie, or
I think it'll be too bright.
Raj?
Kind of a purple gray. It's nice.
Yeah. Those brittle stars are fascinating. Yeah, every
Yeah.
coral we see, the hemicorallium, the victorgorgia, they have such interesting centerpieces on them.
Yep.
Come
Yeah.
wide.
I was just thinking that a brittle star hasn't realized it's on the wrong coral.
Not a lot to choose from out here.
Yeah, I'm surprised it found it and had to traverse a desert.
I wonder how much those brittle stars move around to find the coral and how much they just settle out of the water column as larvae when they detect a coral. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Huh.
I realize I have to find a different way to hold the joystick because the way that I've developed to feel like I have good control over that is not sustainable and hurts my hand.
Raj.
So I'm just trying out different flavors of hold. This is how I hold it, and I like use the thumb to like pivot it, but it hurts.
Raj, yeah.
So I'm like, well, maybe this will.
That's what I do with my bummed wrist. Yeah, I try bracing it on the side so that it's not so hard on your wrist. But it hasn't gotten me very far apparently. You know
Yeah, right.
Are we going to expect to take another Niskin sample before we pull a dive, or are we all kind of sampled up unless we see something amazing?
I think we're all kind of sampled up unless we see something amazing. I don't think we'll get into any other habitat that I'll get any different data from.
Okay.
See, Meredith, you do like 4 AMU.
I've got 2 more weeks to prove that wrong.
It's like I do love 4 AM Meredith. I just like science more. It's just sometimes worth the extra work, you know?
Yep.
Today it is not.
No, that's it. I mean, in all seriousness, that's sort of like the ethical trade-off of like, whenever I go into the field with researchers sometimes, I still volunteer, and it's like, wow, we worked to get all these people together to go out and do this one thing. And now we're kind of thinking like, yeah, maybe we won't do the little bit extra. We'll just come back and do it later or something like that. And you're like, wait, no, this is like a whole mobilization of, you know, small team of people with boats and scuba diving gear.
I also
So-
said that
zoom?
and just now saw this metallogorgia and went, I probably should just right before we leave the seafloor snap that last Niskin bottle.
I'll take Zoom.
So let's plan on doing that. Well, right
Okay.
before we leave the seafloor, we'll snap that last bottle.
We'll
Awesome.
show that for I am Meredith, who's boss.
You got any more zoom?
Nice little squat lobster.
Yeah.
It's very pretty pink, the both of them. Okay, come wide.
I was a little late on the scaling laser.
That's okay. I zoomed right past it.
All solid gauges look good.
Sweet. Thank y'all. What's the chat saying? Got any questions for us?
What is the chat saying? Are y'all taking the weekend off and celebrating the 4th with barbecue and fireworks?
Lol. No.
We might have a barbecue.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not unprecedented.
Yeah.
Definitely no fireworks.
Well,
And
I mean,
also-
there's some old flares aboard, yeah.
That would be fun.
We might be taking the weekend off on account of weather,
Yeah.
not on account
yeah.
of not wanting to be diving.
We have a beach party on Johnston Atoll.
Oh, no, that's an idea.
I asked Allison if we can just dock and take over the island, but she wasn't down.
And no fun.
We have a zoom on whatever's in the sand.
Yeah, over in the foreground.
Right above the lasers.
Yeah.
I think it's a crinoid.
Yeah, sandy crinoid.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's just sort of unfortunately not cost effective is like weekends and holidays when you're.
Yeah, it's very expensive to be on this boat. So you have to maximize all time.
Yeah.
So right now the plan is we're going to
Go ahead.
transit about half a day towards Johnston Atoll and see if we can find some low swell areas in the lee of the atoll and maybe do some shallow dives because the weather's picking up.
Okay, come wide.
Back in 2017, when I was aboard the Nautilus, we were around the Channel Islands for 4th of July.
Oh,
And we got to kind of get close to Catalina, I think,
Yeah.
Islands and see the fireworks. That was
Nice.
pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
That was cool.
Little sponge right there on the rock. There's a fish in the water column.
Chris, you thinking for recovery, we're going to be heading around a 090 heading for
Take some
recovery?
zoom.
Every day. 090.
Roger.
Trade winds.
Cool.
Oh, that's a cool one.
We've seen this one before, right?
Most likely.
Tail is
Yeah.
very rhythmic gymnastics.
I was just thinking something along those lines, although not in those terms.
I appreciate it centering up for the camera.
Oh. Maintaining its position there, yeah.
Which species is this again?
I can't tell if this is a halosar or a cutthroat eel. I think it's a cutthroat eel, but
Nice steady zoom.
or maybe a
Okay,
cusk
come
eel.
wide. Gotta move. Excuse me, move on a little bit.
It's at a bad angle to get its head
Yeah. He
shape.
just maintained that one heading, didn't he?
kind of funny we don't have any weights to drop before we...
I know, and that happened 24 hours ago.
Yeah. How long has this dive been going on for? When did we launch?
Very fresh.
A year ago.
I can tell you that.
It was was it 8 o'clock yesterday? Or
I
9?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2100 or something.
Raj.
Well, not 8 o'clock yesterday, but it's the day before.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because it's 4 a.m. now. Or, well, it's not. It's going to be.
Yeah. Raj, I see.
Happy Canada Day to our viewers in the northern part of North America.
What's that over there? Is that a rock?
I don't know what you're looking at, so I'm going to say yes.
I thought it was a bent over coral. Like
Oh.
right there, that. Yeah, the rock.
I think that's been the story of this dive. Someone going, wait, is that? Oh, no, it's a rock.
It's
Is
my
that
eyes playing
sediment?
tricks, right, yeah.
There's a little tiny sea pen at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, very little.
They managed to grab one of those, I think, 3 dives ago, which in that particular variety is a feat because those ones will suck into the sand the moment you look at them. the wrong way.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Do they have like a tube or something?
No, but they can use, so their peduncle is actually buried quite deep, and they have these special zooids, which are a subtype of polyp that's entire job in life is to pump water in and out. And so they can very quickly expel all the water in their system and suck themselves down into the sand.
Very cool. Video zoom.
Rat tail.
What'd you call me?
Isn't that a rat tail? Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't
Cuskeel.
see unless it turns sideways for us.
You heard the lady.
I suspect it's a rat tail based on that fin, upper fin. They have really cool ear bones.
Where are you going
Oh,
to
you
go now,
gotta
left or
turn.
right? Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my God. Why? Come on.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It was funny. Oh, I really wasn't expecting that out of him.
Did it just face plant?
Yeah. I thought he was going to make a choice, and I think he was, I don't know, just going about his business, forgot how streets work.
Could have gone any way, and you chose the one way where you couldn't get anywhere.
If I was being chased by a UFO, I'd run straight into a wall.
Yeah.
Just because we're walking on the same side of the street doesn't mean I'm chasing him, okay?
Doing the fish equivalent of walking and looking over his shoulder.
Totally.
Using his lateral line, feeling all the vibrations going, what is behind me?
So apparently it's shrimp and
Face
fish.
planting eels.
Face planting
Confused
themselves.
fish. What's this?
Can you have a
Left
zoom
or
on that
right?
guy?
Yeah, we're
This
gonna
is
zoom in
a black
second.
coral.
Let's-
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is bathypathees. It's got that, one of the ways you can tell is the little S shape you've got at the bottom there.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, come on.
Is it true that halosaurs, they can lose their ends of their tails?
I don't know. Maybe at some point Ken Sulak will join us in the chat, but I will also check online.
What was the question?
Can halosaurs, right?
Halosaurs.
Halosaurs. Can
Yeah.
they lose their tails and regrow them as a way to escape predation?
Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
Autotomy. That's the...
According to the internet, yes.
Oh.
Wow.
Like other nodacanthiform fish, halosaurs are able to regenerate their tails easily if lost.
Even more lizard-like.
Yeah.
I wonder how long that must take forever in the deep sea. I mean, there's just not a lot of food down here for them to eat, so that's a fair amount of tissue to regenerate.
Yeah. I wonder what the actual lifespan of those fish are, though, too. I mean, if it's 30 years, 50 years, something like this, since they're so deep, and I would assume they grow very slowly.
Yep.
Yeah, it was something like, was it orange roughy, which we find on seamounts, can live like 150 years.
Yeah, they can be really, really old, and we should all go back to calling them their old, less fancy food-like name.
The branding on this one, it's amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah, they went from being the Patagonian toothfish to the orange roughy.
Oh.
Actually, I think that was the Chilean sea bass.
Oh, that's the Chilean sea bass, that's right.
But that's also a great example of
Yeah.
branding.
Can I take a zoom?
There's a big bamboo
I'm
coal.
gonna go to the base and then I'm gonna go up. Okay.
Towards bamboo coal by those black nudes. Looking like bamboo.
Yeah, the orange roughy used to be the slime head.
Nice. That was a good PR campaign. Fix that.
It talked to its secretary, and it talked to its people.
Talk to its agent.
Yeah.
Yellow eye rockfish are another one that can get really, really old, up to 100 years plus.
You take any more zoom?
Yeah, what's on that?
Do you have any more?
Got a little more, yeah. All right, that's all the way in.
Not sure we can make out what's back there.
No, not from the angle.
Okay, come wide.
That little question mark.
Looks like Bo Peep's thingy.
Yeah.
Like a staff thing?
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to find anything on the age of halosaurs, but grenadiers can live more than 50 years. They're one of the fish species you can age using their ear bones or scales.
Wow, the scales, that sounds like, do they have little rings on them?
I don't think the scales are the current method, but there's a paper in here that people were using scales. I know now grenadiers, they do take the ear bones, like on some of the surveys to age them.
Here, zoom.
Because the ear bones do annual growth rings.
Another bamboo.
Come wide. Oh, sponge. Let's go look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
These sponges look like some sort of weird paddle to me.
I'll take some zoom. I'm going to pirouette around here. Work on my belly. Oh, and there's an enemy in the back. And a shrimp. Is there a shrimp on there? Brittle star, maybe?
There's brittle stars.
Raj. I'll take okay.
Looks like a ghost.
Let me turn.
Those little ghost arms up in the air.
Yep.
Okay.
Ghost sponge.
What do you have for more zoom? Oops, sorry. Let me steady that out. Is that an isopod white thingy?
There are white spots on the bottom? Yeah, I don't
sorry,
know.
it's a little waggy here. Okay. Jeez.
All good.
Ooh.
Here's a bit of star trap.
Ooh, goodbye.
Yep, and there's the
little
ships.
shrimp.
Everyone's abandoning ship.
I wonder what the stimulus is there. Is it a current from
Okay,
thruster
come wide.
wash?
Probably current, vibration,
Ooh,
and the light.
All three, yeah. Probably be tough to isolate which one of the three it is.
So brittle stars also have photophores, right? Or
Yeah, they can on the end of the arm.
even deep sea ones?
Probably. A lot of the, despite the fact that it's always dark down here, there's so much bioluminescence around that a lot of deep sea creatures can actually detect light really well.
Interesting.
For anyone interested in bioluminescence and kind of the history of science of it, there's a fantastic memoir/science book that came out this year called Below the Edge of Darkness, which was written by Edith Witter, who is one of the leading researchers on bioluminescence in the deep ocean.
Cool. Below the Edge of Darkness. That's a cool name.
Her TED Talk is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the visuals of it, yeah. The pinwheel shapes, they have a type of behavior called a burglar alarm.
Yeah, she's developed some really cool techniques for like basically communicating with bioluminescent flashes with deep sea critters.
Is she the scientist that was in Alvin and asked them to turn off the lights to check out the bioluminescence and then realized a need for low light cameras?
Probably.
Yeah. So I have a question we can save for Blue Water Watch, but maybe we can marinate on it now. If you were to write a biography, what would it be called?
Oh, that's
A biography or an
Oh,
autobiography?
yeah. Well, who do you want to write about? No, yeah, I'm sorry, I meant autobiography. I forgot.
Mine would be called It
You could have a
Seemed-
ghostwriter, I guess.
Mine would definitely be called It Seemed Like a Good Idea at the Time.
Mine would be called How Hard Could It Be?
Mine would be called A Lot of Lights On.
That's good. I think mine would be called I Did My Best, okay?
I did my best.
Oh, curly Q.
Yeah, little pigtail bamboo.
Couldn't decide if it wanted to be straight or curly.
Yeah, why not both?
I look at something like that and go, at what point did the genetic signal change that it made it start suddenly growing in a curly Q, or is that just physics?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Go ahead and zoom.
Well, a sea star has been here.
Yeah, this guy's
Yeah.
been stripped down. Yep.
Brittle star. Ooh, goodbye.
Oh, that's neat.
Come wide.
Maybe it curved because it knew the stars were gonna eat the polyps, so it curved, so when the stars make their way up, they'll just fall down.
That is actually an interesting question, and one of the things that kind of thing, the effects on growth and gene expression changes are one of the reasons we're trying to collect these triads of animals that are being predated upon, and then some additional non-predated individuals.
Meredith, do you still want a Niskin sample here, even though we're not seeing much corals?
Yeah, let's go ahead and just fire one.
We have about 7 minutes of bottom / operations time, then we'll be up in the water column, so.
Can I take a zoom?
There's a pair of crinoids.
We might pick up that bamboo coral we just passed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, in the eDNA.
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
ED.
yeah,
Like,
Let's
wow.
just use the other hook hand and just carry it up. We'll have a sword and a whip.
Come wide.
The Indiana Jones of all ROVs here, hey?
Yeah. It'll,
All right, Kylie.
Yes.
5 minutes to find us something super cool, so you stay down here.
Did you order something cool? Oh, well, let me see if I can deliver. 5 minutes or less.
Probably less because we had to take a Niskin.
Find
mean-
something cool and we'll fire the Niskin right next to it.
Yeah.
We're already holding on
Where's
to
the cool
a
stuff?
fossil, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, what more do you want?
yeah, we're about as loaded as hook can get.
Yeah.
But could we get an octopus? Could we get a whale? Could we get some? I would like a crab, like a full-size crab.
Yeah. How about a funky bamboo?
So yeah,
Yeah.
sparse. I was gonna say sparse branch, but no, it's just curlicue.
Just gonna pan around, get all the angles. Maybe we'll see something in the blue water.
Yeah, it's very possible. All right, Meredith, is there a certain altitude you want this Niskin fired from?
Right where we are would be great.
Okay.
Sure. You mind if I look over on the...
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Bender is off. Drop power coming on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Still waiting on comms.
Raj.
All right, I got comms coming on.
Raj.
All right.
Just kidding.
Great. We're going for the white one, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult to tell. Oh, come on now. Oop, my bad. Well, Jess will fix that tonight.
Triggered.
Not the prettiest, but it'll have to do.
It's the most functional. That was 2 meters off the deck.
Roger.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
That was sample 163.
I have a question about
163.
those little button things on the Mongo arm. Are those to prevent corrosion?
The anodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are zinc anodes. They're sacrificial so that we don't corrode the metal.
A bunch on Herc too.
Yeah, I'd noticed them, and I was wondering if they were the anodes like you'd just find on boats.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Now, that is it, folks.
Excellent.
Bridge nav, hold position.
That was a good dive.
Yeah.
Very long one.
Say, it's not over yet. We've got 2
Wow.
hours of blue water.
It was a good
That's
seafloor.
right.
We could still see a whale.
Yeah, we could see a lot of things.
So I'll keep 270, yeah?
Yeah. And I'll
Might see some more jellies.
hopefully spin out this wrap.
Giant squid.
That'd be awesome. I'll settle for a small squid.
I really would love if dolphins just swam by and like were interested in Herc and looked in the camera and
That would be awesome.
said
That would
hi.
be, yeah, waved.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
So, question. We, when Josh restarted the GUI, did so they had to re-zero the wraps. So we actually don't know what is necessarily zero.
Raj. Roger.
I'll just have you drive ahead at 270, so you can just whip me around. Come
You
up.
want to turn off auto head?
Yeah. I'll wait until you stretch out a bit, and then so I don't have the option to do many reps.
Okay.
There's a big old sponge. And a sea pen.
Awesome. Great. All right, you start coming up.
Yeah.
Here's an important science question. Do you think a hot dog is a sandwich?
Oh, I know this question.
It's a classic.
I don't. Unless you rip the bread pieces in half.
The classic childhood sandwich, which is just a hot dog cut in half on 2 pieces of white bread.
And Tim, would you mind putting the winch cam up on Mon 1, please?
Absolutely.
Winch
I would not
alt.
mind.
Follow-up
Mon
question.
1.
Is a quesadilla a sandwich?
Oh, no, but it's
Oh.
delicious.
Yeah. One of my favorite things in the world. Huh? No, maybe.
I
No,
mean,
it's tough. It's
tortillas are bread.
Yeah, if they're not made out of, yeah, if they're not corn.
You can have a flour tortilla quesadilla.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite snacks in the world. It's the simplest thing, but you take an uncooked tortilla, one of the like raw ones, pop it on the frying pan, and you just put a piece of Trader Joe's Munster cheese in between it, and you fold it over on itself and fry it. No butter, nothing else, just perfect. You can eat a dozen of those. It's the simple things.
No.
Here's a question in the chat about the Niskin sampler. Is there proximity range distance for
I'm all
the
set.
Niskin sampler, or is it just general area of the water?
It picks up everything in the general area. There is a little bit of a proximity factor, but it's in the like 10s to 50s of meters, not like right immediate area. So usually if we're in about 20 meters or even a little more, if the community is really dense, we can pick up things in the general area.
Are those something floating?
So this is the part where I tell you that I'll be passing out a 7-page survey about, no, just kidding. Well, I have a captive audience, right?
Uh-huh.
Hey Chanel, I've been meaning to ask.
Yeah, what's up?
Your PhD dissertation, you work with NASA.
Yes.
Okay, can you, how do you work with NASA? What's the relationship there? And how does your research tie into extraterrestrial?
Ooh.
Or I don't know if it's extraterrestrial, but I'm assuming
Yeah, it
there's
kind
some
of is.
relationship there.
Yeah, so my PhD advisor wrote a grant with 2 other people. One of them is at University of Guelph in Canada, and one of them is at NASA Ames Research Center. And they wrote a NASA proposal to study Elephant Head, which is my field site. It's a field site with dry permafrost in Antarctica. And that proposal was funded by NASA. And then my advisor accepted me as a PhD student. So now I work on a NASA grant, and I work with NASA scientists and scientists from Canada, and it's awesome. So that's like a less well-known way, I think, to start working for NASA is to go to grad school and find advice. You can literally go online and find like NASA proposals that have been funded and the PIs, and then you know they had funding. And then you can like cold email them and ask if they're taking students for grad school that year.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, I did that a lot actually when I was looking for grad schools, but this advisor, I actually had been working with the NASA advisor for like a year prior, and then she got a grant funded with my now PhD advisor, who I also knew about before, so it was just kind of coincidence that they ended up working together. But yes, I did that quite often, and that's how I found a lot of the schools that I applied to throughout my grad school search. A lot of cold emailing people.
Yeah, that's an awesome approach. I don't think it's one that a lot of people tell you about when you're applying to grad school, because grad school in research sciences is very, very different than applying to undergraduate.
Oh, for sure. It's like almost barely about the school at that point, and it's more about, does your advisor has expertise in a field that you want to work in / learn more about, and do they have funding? Those are like the biggest things that affect if you like where you go to grad school.
Because as a grad student in science, you get paid.
Oh yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot. No, but you get tuition remission, and so all your classes are typically covered, and you get a living wage stipend. Living wage, it's low, but
Living
I
wage with
wouldn't-
many roommates.
I wouldn't call it a living wage,
Yeah,
but a wage.
Sub-living.
Yeah.
they don't want you to get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially nowadays. We're struggling, but it's worth it. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Well, it's a lot different than graduate school in like humanities, where you typically pay your own way.
Oh yeah, definitely. And a lot of people really like it because your tuition is completely covered. So I have a couple friends who are doing like minors in science policy too. So after they finish their qualifying exams, which is, your qualifying exams are this like exam that some people have an oral and a written component. My school only does an oral. And you basically like defend, it's like a mini defense with your committee, which are a group of faculty at your university who advise your project throughout your PhD or throughout grad school. So after a lot of my friends finish their exams, they start working on a minor. And since their tuition is covered in grad school, then they just get like all of this awesome, basically free, expertise in a subject that they wouldn't have otherwise had the opportunity to. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is cool. I hadn't really heard of people doing a sort of tangential degree while they're actually focusing on, you know, one major, putting together a body of research to convince a committee of, for lack of a better term, scientific elders to give them a PhD.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's important to find an advisor who works for, or like not works for, like works with your goals for grad school, because I think some advisors would be less excited about that. But, you know, if you go in and lay out your expectations, like it might be okay, and everyone's really different. So it's definitely worth asking if you can do that in your search for grad schools. I actually asked my advisor if I could do this internship during our first meeting, because I'd gotten this internship in 2020, and then I was applying for grad schools in fall 2020, and I was like, if I by chance get an opportunity to go to sea, would you be all right with that? I made sure right at the beginning that I could still come out.
Oh, that's great. Wow, and so you waited 2 years for this.
Yeah, and I've been applying since, I think, 2017. Finally got it, and then COVID, but worth the wait. Yeah, for anyone out there who's listening and wants to come on Nautilus, I applied, you know, didn't get it the first time. And I know a lot of people who applied a few times, and I definitely never thought I would get this internship. So just send in your application. The worst they can say is no, and it hurts for a little bit, and then you apply again next year.
Yeah, I would say perseverance is key. That's what happened when I applied to the REU surf program at Scripps. I was like, I know Scripps is the top oceanography school in the world. I need to go into this internship program. I need to be here. So I applied, I think, my sophomore year, my junior year, and then my senior year is when I actually got the internship. And so it was my senior year that summer, and then I had one more semester. So I graduated the fall of 2016. But yeah, never give up.
That's awesome.
How was the RU's research experience for undergraduates? So that's a National Science Foundation funded program that basically gives a summer internship and stipend to undergraduate students to work in a research lab. How was your experience?
Oh, it was awesome. That's how I got introduced to the Nautilus. I actually was analyzing Nautilus footage. So that was 2016, so 2015 footage in the Dr. Lisa Levin lab. She studies deep sea environments as well. And yeah, I loved it. I was on the computer all day. I was analyzing footage and then watching live Nautilus footage at the same time. So I had 2 screens watching Exploring Now footage and then old footage. But yeah, it was awesome. And then just being in San Diego, it never rained, which was weird. But yeah, the sunsets were beautiful. It was awesome. Awesome experience. The people that I met, I still talk to today. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really a fundamental part of any internship I think you can get, is that it's not, the skills that you pick up are very important, but almost as important as the group of people that you're with. And you know, I worked for years with people that I met on you know, internship programs when I was in college. Right, you just sort of connect with everybody's all sort of super excited about science. You're kind of all among people with generally like minds and interests in what they're doing. So yeah, everybody tends to, I don't know, maybe not get along like best friends forever or anything like that, but you definitely end up I guess eating, sleeping, and breathing science and those experiences.
Yeah, things like this is definitely what kept me in science, has kept me in science so far. And it all starts where you're at. I'm sure like professors and teachers nearby will be able to guide you to experiences around you. The Nautilus isn't the only one. There's so many things out there. So I started out by just walking up to people who did stuff that I found interesting and asking them, what can I do and how can I get involved? And more often than not, they'll have something that you can work on, and it just kind of snowballs. So just send that first email to a complete stranger and it should build from there. And if it doesn't, email another stranger.
So I'm gonna ask Kevin, as a professor, as a research professor, at a research university, when someone sends you an email, a student who's interested, like what are you looking for in that email?
That's a good question. If you have a clear idea what you want to do, that's great. But regardless, just reaching out is always good. I mean, I have lots of links, lots of inferences, so I'm always passing stuff out. But yeah, just making the step and saying, hey, this lecture was really cool. I want to do something like that. What do I do? And the professor will take it from there. But there's lots of opportunities. There's a lot of things that are underapplied to. So yeah, just ask. Asking is always key. Nothing ever really comes to you, ever. So you always have to kind of get out there and find it and ask about it, and then hope for the best. And in some cases, you know, feel free to ask if they can look over your application too. Sometimes it's good to have an extra set of eyes to look at it and say, this is kind of rambling about nothing. You should focus on X or Y, and you did Y and Z and you didn't mention it. You know, you can get some good tips from people who have to read applications. So
That's an excellent piece of advice.
yeah.
Also, if you're in a department and there are grad students working around, usually, you know, someone's in grad school, they had to go through like a grad school application process and, you know, an undergrad degree, and they've been, yeah, they have a lot of experience in that environment. They're pretty much always excited to help you. I know a lot of people might be like intimidated to reach out to a professor. Grad students are also a great resource, and we have a lot of experience applying to internships, and we've definitely applied to grad school. So I know I am super excited whenever an undergraduate reaches out to me. It is late. So definitely use them too.
And if you're applying to grad school, and so you can also reach out to the professor's students, try to gauge some details. It's always a good idea, especially if you accepted and you're on the border of what you want to take. Reach out to their students, do a one-on-one if you can. Try to get their honest opinion.
Don't send them a 7-page questionnaire. Have a phone call or a Zoom call.
Yeah, Zoom call probably better. You want to gauge their micro-facial expressions when you ask a question.
And they do not have time for
Yeah.
your questionnaire, but they do have time for a phone call.
Phone calls like that are honestly the highlight. Like, we spend so much time in the depths of lab work and analysis, so it's kind of nice to have conversations that aren't data and experiment related.
Glad we're not in the low latitudes in the southern hemisphere. It's not a section of that ocean that isn't high waves right now.
Which app are you on?
I'm on windy.
Windy.com.
Yeah, you got like 35 knot winds over by Antarctica in the, where are we? South Pacific.
It's wintertime down there.
Yeah.
Well, that's, yeah. Oh yeah, we are now in summer.
It's also
2022.
negative 18, 15 degrees down there. There's some cool seamount trails, like the Louisville seamount that comes kind of east of New Zealand. And the active end of it isn't really known where it is because it's not well mapped, but I have zero desire to ever sail in that area. They actually tried the map and dredged the end of it, but my advisor was on the ship and he was just being thrown around the bridge basically all day for like a week before they gave up.
Oh.
They never had the seas to drop a dredge.
So what exactly are we kind of avoiding right now? The storm, do you know?
Yeah, it's just high winds and associated high swell. So since, for a variety of reasons, but since the ROV is on a, wire and the tensions can't be too high, you don't want high seas that can suddenly jolt the boat up and cause the wire, the tensions to spike. So you can't really put down an ROV safely when the seas are high. So we have like a 2-day high sea event coming through. We're going to see if we can go around the island of Johnston Atoll and maybe do a shallow dive over there, but no promises. The right here is off of Hawaii. It's coming to us right over here. Yeah, this way. Gotcha.
Kevin, what is the next anticipated dive date then?
Ideally 12 hours from now, but we're gonna have to assess what the sea conditions are. So if not, then it's possible it won't be until the 4th of the afternoon.
I'm going to sleep for every single hour, all 12 hours.
We love diving, but we also do enjoy sleeping sometimes. Yeah. The 4th, yeah. Okay. Start speeding back up again. I still get a little bit of blue water.
Little bit of blue water. I don't want to look at that anymore.
Oh, Raj.
It's not going anywhere. If it does, we'll see it from this view.
It's like a safety blanket for me.
It's why? What do you mean?
Bubble cam is just a safety blanket for us all.
Raj. Just tilt down on the HD. Ooh.
Kylie, as you and Jessica bring the ROVs up, what are you looking at?
We
What are you
are
tracking?
everything. We're looking at sonars. There's nothing in them. We're looking at the winch, making sure it wraps nicely.
Okay.
That's like really supreme importance. Looking at the fossil in the magnum arm, debating about which position is best. Jessica's position is right no matter what.
Whoa.
No, I say that honestly and hurtfully. And then also, I swear to God, and also managing, like I check out the gauges every now and then. Once we get closer to the surface, I'll probably, with Jessica's permission, put the bubble on the res gauge. Just keep an eye on that as we approach the surface. We are looking at our tethers from each aft camera to see where we are in relation to each other. Our depth and like the tether as it goes slack, as there's waves, anything like that. The wire camera off the stern of the ship, we're just making sure there's a good wire angle, that the vehicles aren't like under the back of the ship and the wire angle is not coming towards the stern. Always monitoring the 60 hertz cabinet, the pressures on the winch, and the general status of the everything.
I love this one.
Oh yeah, that too. The ROV nav screen. So like our positioning between the ship, and the vehicles, and our movement through the water. And Chris is monitoring the DP screen that the bridge uses, just to stay well informed. Oh, the tension on the winch too. I have that down here on a screen. It's good, it's fine, there's no problems with it. There haven't been this whole dive. But yeah, just anything we have input for doing scans of regularly. But the primary thing is, for me, is making sure the wire goes up, the cable goes on the winch as smoothly as it can, because it'll just build ugly lumps if it goes on gross.
Right. It's gotta pull on. It's gotta spool on like a, I don't know, thread on a spool.
Yeah, like a cable on a winch.
Cable on a winch, right? But I'm trying to, I guess, make it a little more accessible for people
Okay.
who might run into this at home.
Speaking of which, I think it's a great idea. This is my IP, but I'll just, internet. If you're at home, you can use it, but don't commodify it. But I not every person has like a tub or a pool or whatever, but every home has a sink, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about making like small scale ocean technology platforms, and like just like an analog sort of version, like a spool and thread, and different, because the first thing I ever did, like at all ever, that was like engineering and ocean stuff, was I used to take Mentos boxes and make them, tape them all up and make them into little boats and like play with them in my sink. And so I was thinking about, like, now that I do this, how is, if I had done or known anything about ROVs or technology when I was a kid, maybe I'd be so much further in this field. And I don't mean like as far as my career, I just mean like what I can contribute, because my knowledge base has already had like time to build a foundation, right? I started late. So I think about kids and how we need to have like a strong workforce as the years go on, right? And so how can we get them started with concepts that are like complicated and advanced and that they don't see in their day-to-day life in a way that is just fun. So spools, just like wooden spools and thread, and like just, I've been thinking about different sorts of ways to prototype like toys like that in a sort of like Goldilocks sort of Lego-y way. So you saying that was like, oh yeah, and people can, it's like, that's exactly right, is like that analogy is like a accessible way to think of other ideas.
cool idea, Kylie.
It is a cool idea.
I'm working on it.
And if you go to the Nautilus homepage, there's a OET education resources. I think there's one in there called, one of the ones that I do with my own students is called That Sinking Feeling,
Oh yeah.
where you basically try to build a neutrally buoyant device of some kind with a bunch of sort of random stuff. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's like you get like, I don't know, tongue depressors,
Yeah.
and popsicle sticks, and like, I don't know, washers and screws and rubber bands, and you have to play around with the buoyancy of a thing, and you get a bunch of students together and you race them in an aquarium by timing how long it takes them to sink.
That's awesome.
And I've watched 12th graders lose their minds over this activity. Like, it's kind of aimed more towards elementary kids, but
Fun for all ages, yes?
they're literally like
I would get
grabbing-
into that competitively.
Yeah,
Yeah.
competition knows no bounds.
Say
I'll make a kid cry.
a lot of high schools have really great robotics programs these days, and I know at least, I think it was 2018, the like national robotics competition program for high school students was actually building small ROVs and doing their competition in swimming pools.
Yeah. I encourage anyone to look at the marinetech.org website for MATE, the MATE Center. They have ROV resources for middle school, high school, and college students, and they have competitions, so you can do teams. It's an international competition. They have internships, and they also have a jobs page for different types of jobs within this industry. So it's an all-around good resource. After I got my Nautilus internship, I applied for a mate internship because I needed more experiences to like feel like I could qualify myself to keep coming back. And I got a mate internship with Alvin. So that was really
Whoa,
cool.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Who's Alvin? I mean, I love the chipmunks, right?
Alan Colin Vines has a submersible, human-occupied vehicle named after him. And that is owned by, it's owned by the Navy and operated by Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. And we went to 9 degrees north on the Eastern Pacific Rise EPR and looked at hydrothermal vents there with the Sylvan Lab out of Texas A&M. And I was like doing a lot of work. I was like responsible for a lot of like getting the science basket ready. They call their tool tray like a basket. It's a lot bigger, but they just have the one. They don't have like boxes on the sides or anything. So like getting that set up with all like the different sort of, they were using these thing called, I think they're majors. They're like gas tight chambers. Like doing different things like setting up the scrubber, like chemicals so that they can scrubs the CO2 from inside the sphere, the personnel sphere, and getting their lunches ready for them, and doing like they go in with like recorders, like voice recorders, cameras, different things like that. So taking like the cards off of those and giving them to the marine techs to process, just helping with all the ops with the vehicle. And the
amazing.
the cameras are my responsibility.
Wow.
They had 3 MESO cameras on it, which are like, I forget what the acronym for MESO stands for, but we've had them on Hercules. They're basically like GoPros and pressure housings. They get really great imagery. And it was like my responsibility to like open them and close them, seal them for sea, and like get the data off of them. And that was like a really great next step towards getting things subsea ready. So it built like some skills in that. And it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like an incredible opportunity to go East Pacific Rise.
Yeah.
And I mean, the CO2 scrubbers, that's like a pretty essential like life support system right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can stay down. They only operate like daily when they dive. They go from like 8 a.m. right after breakfast until 5 p.m. right before dinner. But they have the capacity, like life support, to stay down for 3 days if they needed to, if those surface conditions didn't warrant a recovery.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because their recovery includes like small boat ops and swimmers in the water. So, and it's like a different sort of risk, you know?
Yeah. Right. You were putting people in between very large, hard objects. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little bit different than here. I mean, there's not risk on the back deck, and that you're not all, everybody's like trained and on their game, but still, like nobody's getting in the water.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like part of the swimmer job is to like stand on Alvin and then dive off of it once it's hooked on to like the main line to come back on the ship. And then swim away to the small boat. And it's just kind of rad.
You could tell it was
Terrifying.
designed by the Navy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This procedure brought to you by United States Navy. Where everybody's 25 years old in the shape of their life, right?
Yeah. It's all very cool. That's like a really long program, which is kind of nice. Like, there's, you know, HOVs do something different than ROVs do, right? Like, they provide direct observation of the seafloor, and like that real scale perspective that you don't get with cameras. But ROVs do a lot of other really important things a lot better. So it's just interesting and like cool to have Alvin be a program that started in like 1955, 56, and has gone through iterations, and it still exists, because I don't know how many HOVs are ever going to be made for academic research, but it's great that there's one iconic one that keeps getting invested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Pisces subs at Hawaii Undersea Research Lab are, I guess, the other two that come to mind as being kind of mainstays of human-occupied vehicle oceanographic science.
I think they're in the same lot as us when we get into port.
Oh, they're in like some of those hangars right there?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
pretty sure. I mean, I saw pictures of some of us there on the last trip, like was when some of the ROV people got a little tour of it, but I don't know exactly where it is, but I know it was close enough for them to find it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then there's the Victor Vescovo's limiting factor. He does like he's different though.
Yeah. Okay.
Like he's like climbed all the highest peaks on Earth and has, I think he does this for himself. Like he funds his own, I think he's like a oil and gas guy that can do other things now. And he does, like he's brought his Triton submarine to the bottom of Marianas Trench.
So was that the 5 deep?
Yes.
Where they're going to the deepest places in all 5
yeah,
ocean
that's
basins?
him. Yeah.
Okay. What are you guys looking at now? Oh, I was like, what are we checking out now?
I just check things on the porch to make sure things don't dislodge on the way up.
Oh, cool.
And then usually do it with the HD camera, but right now it's a busy frame, so using bubble instead. Since we have the next 730 meters to correct anything that's wrong.
Oh, yeah, anybody got questions for us?
Yeah, a question just popped up. Can a chemist get on board Nautilus?
Nope,
What?
not allowed.
We take geochemists and biochemists, and no, I would imagine. Chemistry's great.
We had an astrophysicist on board I don't know, 2 years ago maybe.
Was that for the looking for the meteorite in Olympic Coast?
Well, he was our SCF actually, so I don't remember which cruise I was for. But, I mean, yeah, folks from all walks of life. We have artists come out and, yeah, chemists for sure.
Here's another question in the chat. Do we all have our own bunks on the ship, or do we rotate sleep?
Hot bunking, huh?
Happily, there is no hot bunking that I'm aware of.
Yeah, thankfully not.
We're all in shared cabins, but we each have our own little cozy sleep space.
Want me to pay out?
Yeah, do you mind?
No, I don't mind. It's the name of the game.
Name of the
So
game.
get it right. I don't know. Something. I'll make a rhyme later.
Raj.
I'll hold you to that.
Try as you might to get it right. You're welcome. Sorry.
Yeah, and as far as the rooming goes, typically they've got it set up so that your roommate and you are not on the same watch. So,
Not us.
well, you weren't originally.
Oh, Roger. But on the last trip, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, roommates and watch buddies.
Okay.
Jessica was against it. I was for it. It was my idea. She didn't have a vote.
Wasn't against it. I also didn't have a vote in it, but
Sorry, I continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to say, well, and the thinking behind that, I guess, is that it gives everybody a little bit of time to have the room to themselves. So, you know.
The flip side of that is when you don't have that, you never have to be quiet
it's true.
because you're awake at the same time.
I don't think there's any getting around.
Touche.
Right.
I think it's getting a little bit better. Never mind. No, I don't. Oh, see, I wish it had gone to the right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
We can try again. Put auto heading on as well.
Oh, it just wants to roll over there
Into the rightmost side.
into the left and make that little gap there. I'll do it again. I'll show you.
Okay.
You see, okay, so it's like right there, and then I feel like it's because the wire on the left side of it comes like down under it, you know? Yeah, it's sort of like just doing what it wants.
We can put another wrap on it and then see how it wants to sit.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like towards the end of that drum, it always gets a little weird anyway.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to jinx it, but that seems to be going nicely.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a little jelly that just kind of worked its way across the screen.
Alright.
There's another one.
It would be fun if we got some mahi or something close to the surface.
Yeah.
Myctophids. It's the hour of the lantern fishes.
We are getting into those layers, but probably not till we get to where the oxygen's a little higher.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Raj.
I'm going to come up around 18 a minute.
So we'll have about 30 minutes or so until we reach the surface.
About an hour
Hour?
would be my guess.
Yeah, like, 45 or so, and then we'll allow some time for deck operations.
These look like little copepods. Sort of zooming around in here.
Perhaps.
And they almost look like they have tails.
There is a species of copepod that has a long, frilly, feather-like tail.
Yeah, see those two white ones that just went down?
I think I saw them, but I'll keep an eye out.
Yep, there's another one.
There's definitely some things that are zooming and not due to the ROV thrusters.
Right, yeah. They've got some ability to move through the water, independent of the current. So back row, who has access to the, I guess the sort of log from the dive? Because that was a fairly long one. Is there like a recap? I know that there are video highlights that'll get processed and kind of cut together in a reel, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because we've had 3 watches on this dive, so it seems sort of getting up there on the epic level, but what sort of stuff did people see on all the watches?
I don't know if this answers your question, but the data logger will, which is my position, will go back through all of the notes in the next few days and make a dive report, but that won't be available for a little bit. We're still catching up because we haven't really had that much of a break from the last couple dives, but yeah, eventually there will be like a summation document that summarizes everything, but it does not exist yet.
Oh, and that's one of your roles as a data logger, is to write that report or at least compile the info for it.
Yep.
You're like, I love reports. All right.
There's also there's a raw data log that you can look at that just has the individual tags of highlights, observations, samples, screen caps, and that's actually incredibly useful. So when I do data requests from Ocean Exploration Trust to get particularly the still images when I'm processing coral and eDNA samples, I also make sure I get just the raw sea log, because it's a really fast way to just search for keywords like coral and get timestamps around images rather than going through 10,000 images.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good life hack, Meredith, for that setup. I mean, even watching ROV video on double speed, it would take a while to get what you need from it.
I mean, I usually end up going through all of the still images anyway, but if I'm looking for something quickly, it's a great way to just pull timestamps. There's also great notes, like I'm looking through the log right now, and there's a description of a Christmas urchin jellyfish, which is the kind of tag that makes me want to go looking for the photo.
Christmas urchin jellyfish.
And apparently they did see a chaunacops earlier on this dive.
Those fish are so funny looking.
They are adorable.
Here's a question in the chat. Are there any age requirements for joining the crew on EV Nautilus? I'm just thinking it has to be like you have to be out of high school, because I think our youngest intern on board, Matt, he's just out of high school. So yeah, I don't know if there's an exact age. I don't even know if he's 18 yet, actually. So I don't know.
We have had high school students on board before.
Oh, cool. Was it a special program, or were they interns?
I'm not sure. They came as a group.
Yeah, that was the HRP program, which I don't think Nautilus does anymore.
Okay.
But I forget what HRP stood for. But yeah, I think most of the opportunities are for like the marine science internship or the video engineering internship. So those are sort of aimed more at college age individuals, or college age and beyond. If you want to check those out, I think they're on the OET website under opportunities. So on the Nautilus Lab website.
Yeah, the join tab.
Join tab.
Yeah, so the Science and Engineering Internship Program, the applications will open in August of this year for the 2023 expedition. So yeah, if you're interested.
And if you follow Nautilus on social media, they always put out the when the deadlines are coming up, they announce them online on their social media pages.
Yeah, and you can also join the education newsletter to hear about opportunities as well.
Ooh, what's
There's
that?
some critter. Not sure what it was.
Yeah.
That's a siphonophore.
My favorite.
Super big. Still going.
Yeah, you can see it in bubble cam there.
And there's another.
So siphonophores are cnidarians. Yes, they're not.
Yes.
Not chordates.
They're cnidarians, and the one that most people would be familiar with is Portuguese man-o-war is a species of siphonophore. But yeah, they're a long colonial cnidarian organism, usually pelagic.
Cnidarians have nematocysts as stinging cells.
Exactly.
Nailed it.
I got nervous for a second because all I could think was nomad. I'm like, that's not the word. It's close to the word. What's the word? Nematocyst.
That's when Kevin draws up his A+ there on the telestrator.
The best thing of the other day with the telestrator was like the writing Zoom question.
I didn't want to interrupt anyone.
It was really nice. Great minds think alike.
I think we need a zoom symbol.
Yeah.
Maybe just a big Z.
Just a big arrow pointing at.
Like, give me that.
Yeah.
That's what we'll think about Z bias, though. Oh.
Oh, look, it's Jessica.
That is a good question, though. How, Meredith and Kevin, how do you as researchers get connected to the Nautilus?
I always join the Scientist Ashore program, so they send out a call for that at the beginning of every season, and you can register, and you can pick the expeditions you want to participate in, and then you get access to this same chat portal that we're using here on the ship. So I'm using the same account here that I use from home, and there's also low latency video feeds available. And then with the eDNA program, I've been happy to collaborate with Nautilus since 2016, where at the beginning of every season, I send them all the filters and buffer they'll need to collect environmental DNA samples throughout the whole season.
Yep, similar for me. One minor difference is whenever they put out those site reps or initial, like they announce the expeditions they're going to have, you know, they'll put an open call for like site, you know, suggestions. And for like this expedition right here, I sent in a very detailed, all the dives, basically all the dives we went on, or places I picked, and gave justifications because I'm working in the area. And then Daniel asked me, you know, can I be on the ship?
Dude, is that how he basically was like, why don't you just go?
Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
you know, you're kind of picking everything and guiding the expedition. You should
It's
probably
really
be
good
on the
ideas.
boat.
Nice.
Well, a lot of it's reaching out, just emailing key people and saying, hey, I want to be involved. I'm doing research in the area. It's justified.
So that strategy proves effective.
Yeah.
Sorry, it proves effective even after you're you've gotten into grad school.
Yes, it often can.
Yeah. You don't get anything you don't ask for.
Our fish expert scientist ashore, Ken Sulek, has appeared in the chat, so I'm guessing we're about to get some great fish IDs.
At about 400 meters still.
So I'm planning to do a road trip up the East Coast to New York and Boston. What should I do? Oh, you're not on SPF.
That's where you want to go. You want to go to Boston, yeah? That's on your to-do list, your
Yeah.
life list.
Yeah.
You're doing it? You're doing it this summer?
No, not
Oh, it's okay.
It's I'm thinking winter time.
No.
No.
Poor decision. Control, Alt, undo. Delete, revise, edit, replan.
If you're going to New York City, I recommend October or April.
Yeah, don't go in the winter. I
Where-
moved in the winter, and that was a very poor decision.
Unless you like really like the winter, because like New York will have like the Christmas window displays up on all like the big stores, and like Boston is pretty in the winter, but it's also freezing and disgusting. So I just really can't unrecommend it enough.
Yeah, I would say if you are going winter, Christmas time in New York City is fantastic in Manhattan.
Where's your
cold.
starting point too?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, yeah, I would think that I would start from Miami and make
That'd be
my way.
fun.
I would
And-
just stay in Miami.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, why? Well, that's where I'm from. So I was thinking I'd make my way up and say hi to people along the way, but
Yeah, what about, I mean, listen, do whatever time of year that you're interested in, but if there's like a certain time of year that gets pretty like crowded or sticky that you want to escape Miami, that's like more spring, summer, or fall, I just think there's a lot more available to see and do. Like, so Boston is super historic, and New York is like a very, like you have to travel within it, like go places very often, right? You're constantly like outside or getting into transport or walking, and it, I think, and Boston has a lot of outdoor spaces. So I think if you can do that in weather that is not bitter cold, you might be able to get a lot more out of the experience. I saw it.
yeah, I actually went to New York in the summer. I'm trying to remember which year, maybe like 2015. And I had a friend living in, her family lived in Haverstraw. Do you know?
No.
Haverstraw?
Haverstraw,
I
right?
haven't heard of it.
Okay, maybe I'm saying it wrong. It's like outside of the city, and we had to catch a ferry
Is it Long Island or upstate? Do you know?
upstate,
Okay.
Haverstraw, I think.
Maybe we can take that
I
back
mean, it
out.
might be. I don't know upstate that well, so.
You mean what just went on?
Yeah,
Just this though, yeah.
yeah, just that.
I'd make the argument that, you know, that's one of the part of the country that's got the best public transit. So you could actually do a lot of that by train. So like take the train up from Miami. And
Let's try maybe one more time.
Except
yeah.
there's no great train service out of Miami.
Really? Like Amtrak doesn't go to Miami?
I mean, I think they do, but it's not the greatest service in the world.
Yeah, I'm thinking it starts like
You went to
Broward,
Kelly.
right?
Why? It's went on better.
Fort Lauderdale, West Palm area is, I
But
think, where
the-
the Amtrak station is.
Yeah.
The back is still divided, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna
North
get
out of
closer 'cause there's a
Miami,
divot there.
stopping on St. Augustine on the coast is always really nice. Old Spanish fort town.
Okay.
What is it again? Haverstraw.
Yeah, but I was thinking you could get around Boston and New York on the subway pretty easily.
Okay, so you're on the Hudson. Cool. Yeah. So I was from here. This is where I was born and raised, Jamaica. And then I lived at Bay Ridge for a little while. But yeah, if you're going in the winter, I would go to Rockefeller Center and other stuff in December. It's really nice. Very cold. Hard to park. Hard to get around. If you can find a good place to park, I mean, it is great public transit in New York, so. See the Empire State Building, and which I've never done, There's a lot of tourist things I never did. When you grow up in the city, you just tend not to ever do the tourist stuff. I did go to the Statue of Liberty once as a school trip, and that was fun.
I've only ever been in New York for 8 hours
Oh, yeah?
on a layover.
Ah, that doesn't count.
Well, we did leave the airport, and actually I went and walked around the city for a few hours, but
Ah, cool.
rode the subway.
To and from the airport, because it's
To-
got great public transportation.
Yeah.
Just
I-
proves my point.
I will recommend in between New York and Boston on your way up, you should stop in Fall River, Massachusetts. You probably will drive through there anyway. Get yourself some great Portuguese food and sit down under the Braga Bridge and have a nice lunch at the carousel.
That sounds lovely.
That's where I'm from.
If you have the chance, you can go up to Vermont as well. Vermont is lovely. I got married in Vermont.
What part of Vermont?
That's a great question. I'm trying to remember the name of the town now. Drawing a blank on it.
Windsor?
Hold on.
It's the only place in Vermont I know.
Burlington?
It was towards the south. Oh, what the hell is the name of the town I got married in? Should probably know that.
Hopefully
That
your
was
wife
12
is
years ago.
listening
I was
to
going to
this.
say, you were the one in charge of all the wedding details, right?
While Kevin is looking up his town in Vermont, Ken Sulek has chimed in on the chat and said that early in the dive, we actually got 2 species of interest, images of 2 of the fish. One of the eels we saw early on, which was a charcoal gray in color, was actually not a synaphobranchid, which would be the other, not cutthroat, but other eels we're seeing, but it was actually a congridae, very probably in the genus Rechius. And then later in the dive, a large whitest macrourid with large dark eyes was imaged close up. It was probably a continental rise species of Coryphonoides carapinus, rather thinnish and delicate looking compared to the normally encountered Coryphonoides armatus. Cool.
It was Woodstock, Vermont, which is fabulous.
Roger. It's so cool that we have like experts available to like supplement our our information as
Yeah.
we're seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this system is revolutionary. They used to just have to bring everybody on the
Yeah.
early oceanographic expeditions, and then not all of them would make it back. Oh yeah,
I mean, this cruise isn't over, so.
Knock on wood.
That's your point. No, I'm thinking of like Captain Cook's expeditions where they'd be,
Yeah.
Oh,
they
Raj.
bring a few like landscape painters and people who biologists or botanists and zoologists and chemists on board, and diseases would invariably take 1 or 2 of them because, you know, modern medicine wasn't a thing yet. Yeah, the fact that we can connect to people with really encyclopedic knowledge of what we're seeing is astounding and really, I think, a dream come true. So I second your opinion there.
What's going on back there, Chanel? You're quiet.
I got the sleepies.
Roger. Understood.
She's all giggled out for tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, there's
That's
so
the
much
first
shrimp.
sign of the tired, isn't
Yeah.
it?
7 stages of fatigue. Yeah.
Shrimp giggles is definitely number 2 or 3.
Stage 5, I was going to say. Would be his, uncontrolled laughing.
That fish face palming was the greatest thing that I've seen. I don't know how I get access to videos, but